Hello, let's continue our Sudoku adventure with Fortress Sudoku by Clover. So this is the beginning of February's theme week. Theme weeks are always starting the first Monday of every month, and they last 7 puzzles, exactly a week. And the theme for this week is Fortress Sudoku. So Fortress Sudoku has cells that are either minimums or maximums of all of the cells that touch them, except for other fortress cells that are of the same type. So in this puzzle, we have maximum cells, and they don't touch each other, so you don't have to worry about that rule. But I'm going to go over all the rules of Fortress just so that you're prepared for this week, but this puzzle is only going to use partial rules of that. So you can see that these cells around the grid, they have, in this case, greater than signs pointing in towards the cell. Or you might consider them arrows pointing out if you prefer. But these do act as greater thans in the way you'd expect. And so this cell here, which we've used red for maximum cells and blue for minimum cells because they can be hard to tell apart. And so if I were to put, say, a 3 here, and D2, of course, then what this is saying is this cell needs to be bigger than all the cells touching it. We don't care about diagonal, only orthogonal, all the cells that share an edge. And so these would have to be chosen from 1 and 2. So in this case, we'd have to do 2, 1 like that. What we can't do is we can't, obviously Sudoku rules wouldn't let you maybe equal anyway, but you can't be equal and you can't be bigger, right? This breaks the rule because the greater than sign, the alligator wants to eat the bigger number, right? And now if we did have 2 maximum cells next to each other, then there wouldn't be a greater than between them because they would conflict with each other, right? There would be, this would be saying I'm greater than this, and this would be saying greater than this. So Fortress has a specific rule saying 2 fortress cells of the same type, if they touch, then those don't count. Because you can kind of think about it as like building a wall for a castle or for a fortress, right? And so people on the wall either stand higher or it's a moat where they stand lower, maybe. But anyway, so that is how these work. Minimum cells work the opposite, where they have to be less than all the ones touching. Now, if a minimum and a maximum cell were next to each other, then that would be fine. They would agree with each other, so that is enforced. But anyway, this puzzle just has maximum cells and they don't touch each other. It's a nice intro to the constraint created by Clover. All the rest of the puzzles for this week will have an additional constraint along with the fortress constraints. But this one, for the first one of the theme week, we always do a pure constraint puzzle. So there is a link in the description if you would like to try the puzzle yourself, and I'm going to get started right now. All right, how shall we get started? Well, I need a 1 in this box, and this one sees in here, and we can't put a 1 in a maximum cell because then these two would both have to be smaller than 1. So the 1 goes here, which doesn't really help this cell very much, but that's okay. Is there anything else we can do with this 1 maybe? Well, we know that in this box, again, we can't put 1s on any maximum cells. So in this box, 1's in one of these 2. And then that puts it up here somewhere. And down here, it's also in one of these 2. And that puts it up here somewhere. Okay. Now 2 needs to go in this box. Now this also can't be a 2 because then these both would have to be 1. And these both would have to be 1. There's a lot of problems with that. So the 2 actually has to go here. Now the 2 looks down, and this also can't be a 2, because if this was a 2, again, these would both have to be 1, and all 3 of these would have to be 1, and that's not going to work. So the 2 doesn't go here or here, so the 2 joins the 1, making a 1-2 pair, because we have 2 cells in this box for the 1 and the 2. And so they have to go there. They can't go anywhere else. And so the remaining cells, let's just fill this. The remaining cells are 4, 5, 6. Now, one of these 2 is a 6. It's definitely not going to be the one that has to be less than this one, right? So we can actually place the 6. And we end up with a 4, 5 pair here. So this is a 3, 6 pair. And this 6 tells us the order. Okay, this, let's see. What are the cells left in this box? So we know we need a 1, which goes down here somewhere. And then we need a 3 and a 4. And this one's not the 3. Interesting. So I don't think we can say much, except this can't be the 4, because if this was 4, this would not be able to be bigger than it. So let's think about this box as well, and then I'll do the right side, of course. So we need 2, 4, and 5 here. So what we can say is one of these two is a 5. 5 is the biggest that can go in this box, and since one of these is a 5, it has to be the bigger side. Okay, very nice. So we get this 2-4 pair now. So now by roping, we can say that we need a 5 and a 6 here, right? And the bigger one goes in the fortress cell. And then up here, we need 2, 3, and 4. And the only thing we can really say is this one's not a 2. 6 in a fortress, obviously, is not very restrictive. Down here, we need the 5 and whatever this 3, 4 ends up as. The 5 is the bigger one, so that has to go here. And then this is that same 3, 4. We do need a 6 up here. It's going to be in exactly this cell because of these two 6s looking in. So then that's the 1 and that's the 1. Okay. Let's fill out this column. It needs 2, 3, and 4. So we know this can't be a 4 because otherwise this won't be able to be bigger than it. So this is the 2. And then both 3 and 4 would be bigger, so that's okay. But, if this was a 3, what would this cell be, right? If this was a 3, how would this be less than 3? Well, 1 and 2 are used, so this would have to be greater than 3. So this actually has to be a 4. And then now this is the 3, which is the only digit left that can be smaller than 4. And now this is the 5. And now this should just finish the puzzle. Yep. Okay, 1, 3, 4. We get so many DT dudes in this one. Oh no, we just got the 1 DT dude and a bunch of examples that were DT dudes. All right, 2 and 4, and we're done. Very nice. Well, thanks, Clover. That was a really neat introduction to Fortress because you had to think about how 1s and 6s got restricted within the boxes, which is definitely something you're going to want to think about. Also, often like the low digits in general and the high digits in general get very restricted because of how many cells have to be bigger or smaller than the Fortress cell itself. So very cool intro. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And of course, if you did, why not leave a like, subscribe, and a kind comment below.